It's just through that experience, and that's what I definitely recommend. So just go out and do it. My first time overlanding, I just went out and did it, and I ended up waking up next to Hi, my name is Edward Shin. I'm with the Crocum Outdoors channel, and my channel is all about the outdoors, more specifically related to backpacking and overlanding and gear reviews. Coming from an Asian family, my parents had this dream for me. My dad specifically wanted me to become like an engineer. So after high school, I actually started studying engineering. And that was more of my parents' dream. And the reason why I realized it was my parents' dream was because I did not enjoy it at all. So after college, through a friend, I decided to go into banking and finance. And as years passed, there was an opportunity for one of my friends who enjoyed the outdoors to go backpacking. And this was back in 2010. My friends Kevin and Johnny and Steve, they decided to take me up to Mount Baldy. So since I didn't have any gear, of course, I went to REI, rented a bunch of gear, and my very first backpacking experience, we hiked up to the summit of Mount Baldy, a little over 10,000 feet in elevation. We didn't have a tent because it was too windy, so I just laid down a sleeping pad, had a sleeping bag, slept overnight, hiked back down. That was my very first backpacking experience, and I got hooked ever since. I enjoyed it so much that I decided to pick up a camera, and this was maybe about 5 years ago, and start chronicling and recording my adventures and experiences outdoors. One of my videos, which had me I just picked up my camera phone, went over the gear, my backpacking gear in my living room, and I was just kind of explaining to everyone what my gear was and how I was using it. It just kind of blew up a little bit. And from that point on, I started to take YouTubing a little bit more seriously. Yeah, it's grown to what it is. And the thing that made me feel a little bit more motivated about the YouTube process was I started receiving comments about how people were thanking me or giving their input and feedback about the gear that I was using to go backpacking. Something triggered in me, of course, with that. And then I started filming my adventurous backpacking trips and everything. I never thought YouTube would be a part of my life the way it is now. It's grown into something that I see as a good platform to spread awareness, information, knowledge, as much as I'm taking in the knowledge through this platform as well. And a part of me really enjoys sharing information and teaching, as you can say. And by all means, I am no expert in this field, but I just share information based on my experiences. And of course, something like the outdoors and how people enjoy the outdoors can vary in so many ways. What may work for one person may not work for another. It is very unique to each individual, and sometimes multiple individuals can use the same kind of information. About 3 years ago, I started to get into car camping and the overlanding, in air quotes. And my very first time I decided to try taking I had a BMW X5 SUV, and I wanted to try taking it out into the backcountry, not into a campground, but just do what I've seen these people on YouTube do, which is take their car and go into the middle of nowhere in a remote location and camp. So I decided to go right after work. I packed up a tent, a Coleman tent that I bought off of Craigslist. I had already a sleeping bag and sleeping pad. Went out into where I thought was the middle of nowhere by a lake I saw on a Google map. And it was dark, so I couldn't really see anything except the lake and a flat area on the ground. So we set up camp and I slept. And the next morning, while I was inside my tent, I started hearing loud noises. Actually, it sounded like diesel engines, cars, and just a lot of commotion right outside my tent. So I tried to just, ignore it and whatever and just get some sleep, but it kept happening over and over again. So I decided to take a peek out of my tent and look outside. And I come to find out that morning that I actually ended up parking and car camping on a boat launch ramp by a lake. So what I saw was I opened my tent door and there's a truck backing a boat into the lake that I was camped right next to. But, it was as embarrassing as it was a learning experience for me. It's the crazy thing about embarrassing experiences, it ends up being a good story to tell and to kind of share with everyone that, sometimes when you learn and when you do things, when you go out and do things, it may not end up being a perfect scenario. We're gonna have some rainy steak tonight. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to adapt. And the way we're adapting is we're kind of huddled under this tree with the branches hanging out, so there's a little bit less water falling on us. We just learn and experience over time, but each and every time, although it was different, we enjoyed the experience. And I think that's the ultimate message I wanted to send out through my channel, which is no matter which way, how you do it, there is no set perfect way. There is no precise formula for enjoying the outdoors. You cater it and you can do it and enjoy it according to however you feel comfortable and whichever way works for you. Some people are nervous to go out because they feel like they need to buy certain things before they go, which is definitely, in my experience and opinion, not the case. You can go to Walmart, spend less than $100 on some gear and go out. You don't even need to buy gear. You can actually sleep in your car somewhere and wake up to a beautiful sunrise and enjoy the sunset from your car and sleep in there. For those of you who have never done anything like this before, but are considering it but have questions or have uncertainties, or maybe if it relates to gear or safety, I would definitely say and highly encourage you to do what I did, which is, go through YouTube, Google, get some basic information as it relates to safety and just being practical in terms of going out and camping. You're gonna learn through your trips what works for you and what doesn't. It's just through that experience, and that's what I definitely recommend. So just go out and do it. My first time overlanding, I just went out and did it, and I ended up waking up next to a boat launch ramp. And you may experience those kind of things as well, but that is ultimately how we grow. I'm still trying to cater my experience to be a little bit more comfortable for me as well. So right now I have a couple of companies that I'm partnered with, and all of them I've done research. For example, like the Travax partnership, I've actually been, if you've seen one of my previous videos, I've actually researched wallet companies because I wanted to get out of my bulky wallet into a slimmer, more minimalistic wallet, and Travax was one of the companies I researched. And the main reason why, as someone who enjoys the outdoors, wanted a minimalist wallet is because as a person who carries like everyday carry type of gear, which is like a knife, flashlight, phone, everything else in your pockets, it gets too bulky if you have like those trifold or dual fold wallets. So you want to make sure that whatever is kept in your pocket takes up as little room as possible because you carry so many gear. So I want to thank you all for joining us in this series. We hope you enjoyed it and found it very useful as well as entertaining. Travax does have other series that they've done. If you haven't checked that out yet, please be sure to check that out on their playlist as well. And if you haven't subscribed to Travax yet, definitely subscribe. I also have a channel. If you look up Crocum Outdoors, I will have content based on overlanding and backpacking. If you haven't subscribed there, please feel free to come over and subscribe as well. This was definitely a great experience with Travax. I am very grateful and have enjoyed it very much. Have a great day.